Hey, look, if you're a Nintendo fan and you're getting riled up because of some of the criticisms that you're seeing of the Switch 2 on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, and it's causing you to get into a fit of rage and respond to some of the criticisms that you're seeing, I caution you, please take a deep breath, sit back, and maybe consider sitting this thing out. Particularly if you were someone that were caught up in some of the tweets that I'm about to show you, and you don't have the technical prowess to understand why the tweets that I'm showing you are absolutely stupid, sit it out. Because I'm telling you, the way that a lot of you Nintendo fans, and I have nothing against you, I don't say that with some type of sarcasm or anything like that, or to be mean, but the way that a lot of you Nintendo fans are gauging this technology and fidelity and performance debate that's happening on Twitter, it's making you look like that you're stuck in some weird time warp, like some weird bizarro version of the movie Groundhog's Day, where your timeline doesn't go past the year 2002. What's up, people? It's your boy MM2K of Hard Knock Digital Culture, Cloud Dosage, and here MM2K Gaming, back again with a strange one. This is what we call the quick dose, but this episode of the quick dose is going to be very, very peculiar. But before we get into all that, do us a huge favor, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please. And if you happen to have a PlayStation, how dare I, the gall of me doing this on a Nintendo video, but if you happen to have a PlayStation and you want to earn or win a free copy of Death Stranding, we're giving a raffle on the 10th of June of 2025. Make sure that you're a member. You can join at any level and not only get access to excellent members content, but you'll enter our raffle to win a copy of Death Stranding 2. That's coming out courtesy of one of our other members, Geek the Sneak. So shout out to Geek for that one. Okay, let's get to this video, man. I'm not going to do a lot of fluff here. This is supposed to be quick dose, so let me try to live up to its name. Let's show you what the heck I woke up to this morning, which I think it's some of the most idiotic things I've seen on this app. Let's take a look at it. Okay, this is a tweet by someone called Necrophilippe Univ Nintendo. And what he's done is he's taken a snapshot of Rare Tech Gaming, where Rare Tech Gaming praised the balance mode that's in Ratchet and Clank, that was added, I guess, later. Later, Insomniac added a 40 frames mode, because if you activate the 120 hertz on your TV, if you have VRR, that is what creates what we call now the balance mode, where you'll get a lot of the quality bells and whistles, but you'll get an extra 10 frames. So he's praising that aspect of it. And in order for you to understand why he's praising it because, again, you get to keep the quality bells and whistles for the most part that come with the quality mode, and you get an additional 10 frames that you normally wouldn't get when you're playing the basic quality mode. Again, it's called a balance mode, right? So he's praising that in totality, not praising a mode simply with 40 frames per second. But again, our good friend Philippe didn't understand that, because he responds to critique that Red Gaming Tech gives to the performance mode of Cyberpunk 2077. And look, we got to blame our good friend of the channel, my homie J Dub, for setting this up, for creating this whole debacle, because he was making fun of the Cyberpunk version that's on Switch that has a performance mode that targets 40 frames per second. Dear God. And the reason why we say dear God is because normally, again, with performance modes, those are the flattest modes. I explained it perfectly in the tweet. Well, we'll get there in a little bit. But yeah, Red Gaming Tech is making fun of the fact that it's a performance mode that targets 40, but our good friend Philippe, he doesn't understand that. He says, is this you? And he brings back a tweet from Red Gaming Tech, or we'll just call him RGT, from 2021, where he's talking about, again, this balance mode that gives you the best of both worlds. most of the bells and whistles that you get from the quality mode, while giving you an extra 10 frames and upping it to 40 frames per second if you have VRR or 120 hertz screen, right? He's praising that. Philippe doesn't understand that. But here's the crazy thing about this. Normally this would be ignored because we know that there are at least some Nintendo gamers that don't get all this technical stuff because you don't buy a Switch for all that technical stuff. As a matter of fact, Nintendo gave up all that graphical prowess stuff when they came out with the Wii, right? They created their own lane, highly successful in that lane, and they're working it, like a whip. You know what I'm saying? Charging $80, $90 games, but that's a whole nother podcast or video. But hey, they're seeing success from it, right? So, if you like it, I love it. I just won't buy it. With that being said, we know that they don't know all this stuff because that's not what they buy the product for. So on the surface, Philippe sending something like this wouldn't mean anything, except it got 1.8 thousand likes on Twitter. And if you read the thread, it's crazy. Now, one person calls him out and says, still even, this is the gotcha. You're thinking the Switch 2 being 40 frames per second in performance mode is, let's say, okay, right? And he goes on to kind of explain this to Philippe, but Philippe says the issue here is calling NS2 performance a potato when you celebrate exactly the same thing on PS5. You're not celebrating the same thing on Look, okay, let me stop engaging with this. Let me show you some of the responses that I've had, right? So where's my response to Philippe? I gotta see my response to Philippe. I'm pretty sure okay, here it goes. I said, OMFG. If you're a Nintendo fan and you don't know the difference between fidelity mode and balance mode, therefore like this tweet, you're cooked. And my brother, shout out the Juice, he says, bro. And I'm like, I know. They get knee-jerk about Nintendo criticism, but they're going to have to mute the words performance, balance, power frames, FPS, VRR, fidelity, graphics, quality modes on this app and sit this one out. Here's one more thing I had to say. This other guy, OJ Player Essence, right? Dude got 29,000 followers. I guess this is like they're meeting in some Nintendo fanboy DM and they're spreading this talking point because they all been hitting RGT with this. So he says, I guess 40 frames per second was great here. Oh! And actually has a laughing emoji when he should have a crying emoji because this is sad. And so Nismo says, look, Switch 2 performance mode is 40, PS5 performance mode is 60, PS5 fidelity mode is 40. Really, it's the balance mode, but whatever. That's not the point, he says. The point is he is okay with 40 frames in the first place, but not anymore. No, that's not the point. So I try to break it down to him. He's okay with it as a balance mode equals a mode that keeps a lot of physical prowess, but grants 10 more frames in the quality mode. There's nothing impressive about a 40 frames per second performance mode, which usually has the flattest graphics and fidelity. A performance mode should target 60. Look, man, my Nintendo people, and shout out to my homegirl Snow Bunny. Snow Bunny don't care about none of this stuff about the fidelity. She just loves playing her Nintendo games. She's of the sensible wing of the Nintendo fandom. But if you're not, and you're just reacting to this, understand there's a bunch of trolling going out there, and understandably so, because Nintendo's now trying to get into the AAA gaming space with a less than AAA impressive console. You know what I'm saying? Like now we got games like Borderlands 4 coming day and date to the Switch 2, which is a lower common denominator device that's going to affect what it's able to do on the PlayStation 5 and on Xbox, because again, when you develop, and we learned this with the Series S, when you develop a game, you gotta develop to the capabilities of the lowest common denominator. Prime example, the makers of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 said they had to scale back, I believe it was 15 or maybe even 25% of what they wanted to do because they wouldn't have been able to do it on the Series S, right? The Switch 2 is weaker than the Series S. So if that's the case, now we got a weaker machine that's going to hold back games even further than the Series S. People don't feel good about it. So they're hitting Twitter and they're talking crap. My suggestion to you is like I told my homeboy Juice. You guys are going to have to ignore the words balance, power, frames, FPS, VRR, fidelity, graphics, quality modes. Look, sit this one out. You don't know nothing about this, son. Sit it out. Leave it alone. You guys are about to get flame broiled in a way that you don't imagine. These gaming streets are different now. It's harsh out here. And you got PlayStation fans who are going to be upset about games being held back. You got Xbox fans that got the snot beat out of them by PlayStation when they've been rallying all over social media like this wasn't going to happen. Those two groups have now been standing down somewhat because the console war is over. They are looking for someone to do like Muammar Gaddafi and drag through the streets. Don't be that guy. Don't be like Philippe. Don't be like this other cat, OJ Player Essence. Sit this one out, son. That's my warning to you, because this is stupid. If you're going to be in this AAA space where you're getting the same games day and day, you're not getting a Switch version, then your device should be powerful enough to do performance mode at 60. Performance modes are usually the flattest modes so you can get more frames. So if you make the game flat fidelity wise and you still can't get 60 and you have AI upscaling that's supposed to supplement that's a problem. Just be happy with your device, play Mario Kart, sit this one out. I'm telling you. That's it from your boy. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below, because like I always say, I'm curious what I think. But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. They'll lead you to Hard Knock Digital Culture, MM2K Gaming, and Cloud Dosage. With that said, peace. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day.